As part of Ferrari Fridays, William Ross from the Exotic Car Marketplace will be discussing all things Ferrari and interviewing people that live and breathe the Ferrari brand. Topics range from road cars to racing, drivers to owners, as well as auctions, private sales, and trends in the collector market.
And welcome back to the Ferrari Marketplace podcast presented by the Exotic Car Marketplace. For everything exotic cars from Ferrari and Porsche to Lamborghini and Koenigsegg, the Motoring Podcast Network. Check out the family of automotive podcasts at motoringpodcast.net. If you're anything with wheels and a motor, this is the site to check out to find your favorite new podcast to listen to. Slot mods for the coolest slot car tracks in the world. Check out slotmods.com and let your imagination run wild. And Grand Touring Motorsports, covering all aspects of auto racing. And be sure to check out the monthly e-zine at gtmotorsports.org. All the links are up in the description. And onward to today's episode. I'm your host, William Ross. I got my Diet Mountain Dew as always, and we're ready to do some chit-chatting. Or I guess they say I'm just ready to do some talking here. And we're going to talk about something that I guess you could say, it's been brought up in talks before, but the big hubbubaloo in the Ferrari world is the little nugget that Lewis Hamilton dropped about a week and a half ago, whatever. I was going to try and do this sooner, but I kind of wanted to wait to see what else got dug up on it. There's been a few other things, so it's been interesting. But anyways, Lewis Hamilton dropped a little tidbit of information. It kind of reflected on his photo shoot he did when he was finally at Ferrari, Maranello. They did it, in the factory. Then they do it in front of Enzo's old house, office, blah, blah, blah. And he was standing there next to an F40, all dressed up in his suit and everything, looking good. And supposedly he wanted to have a black F40, and Ferrari said, nope, that's not happening. So they had the red one in there. But the F40 is one of Lewis Hamilton's all-time favorite road-going cars. So he would love, again, we don't know where this conversation has gone with Ferrari, if this is just something, you're playing that game where he's going to drop it out on social media and the news and stuff like that, then try and see if it goes somewhere because it's got wheels. Make it more of a public forum type discussion than a behind doors closed discussion with Ferrari themselves before anything gets said or released. But he would love to have Ferrari build for release, I guess, limited production, but a modern F40 with, drumroll, a manual transmission, which everyone went nuts about because everyone's kind of been clamoring and everything, Ferrari coming out, everyone else is coming back to offering or putting in manual transmissions. I mean, obviously this is a kind of a higher level. You get in the hypercar territory, like Koenigsegg, Pagani, they're doing it. Porsche's always offered a manual because, hey, their buyers want it. But I think you're going to see a lot of other manufacturers step in and offer that as an option on their cars. Now, way back when, for those of us of, I guess you would say, certain age bracket, demographic, used to be when you bought a new car or you went to spec a new car, order a new car, everything way back when, manual transmission was standard. And you had to pay extra to get an automatic transmission in your car. And it wasn't cheap. A lot of these things, it was an expensive option. I know back at BMW back in the day, it was almost like a $1,500 option to get an automatic transmission put in your car. So people were like, forget that. They had a manual. And people grew up driving manuals. I grew up, my first car was a manual. A majority of people, I'm sure, probably listen to this, their first car was a manual. You want to teach your kids how to drive a manual because it's just, you're more involved in the experience. And it's such a different driving experience when you are rowing your own gears. It's phenomenal. Anyways, the discussion was had, I guess a lot of people kind of tweaked it. It's like the telephone game. It started, the story was here, and then by the time it got to this end, it was completely different. But, people putting their own spin and take on it. He wanted to supposedly call it LH44 or something like that. You had the 44 designation in it somehow, some way, which probably be a little tough. But, it is Lewis Hamilton, and, hey, if he can deliver a world championship to Ferrari and Constructors' Championship with him and Charles Leclerc, then I think Ferrari, no problem. He's got to prove himself just because of your name. Yeah, he's 7-time world champion, F1 world champion, everything like that. Yes. No, he's got the CV to back up making this request. But Ferrari just doesn't, they're pretty staunch in regards to how they operate their business. But his take was, he wanted to have a modern F40 with the manual transmission. Now, what that would entail would be V12, which I would think that, yes, you'd have to go V12 in that manual transmission, a la the F50. That would be the route I'm sure they want to go. Now, would you just kind of tweak, make a more modernized version look of the F40 or what have you? That would be kind of interesting to see how they'd go about doing that. Obviously, it's got to be a road-going car. My guess and assumption, and if I said I've touched on this before and said it before, if they ever did another manual transmission car, it was going to be one of the Icona series cars. So whatever it may be, obviously we just have the SP3. You got the SP1, SP2, you got the SP3. They do some one-offs for very, very influential customers, but it would be somewhere along the lines of the Icona series. So 500 cars, maybe 250, that's it. And obviously you got to have that privilege and be offered that golden ticket to buy one. So basically 99.9% of us in this world that are car fanatics and love cars would never have the opportunity to drive one, let alone sit in one, or maybe even get near one. I mean, yeah, I'll probably see one at a show or something like that, really cool, but just wouldn't happen. I mean, obviously, there's a very, very, very small portion of us that probably get to experience an F40 or an F50. F40, more than likely, you could possibly, because there are over 1,300 of them got built. F50s, not so much. That's the only kind, I guess you would say, thing that would really suck about it. Us people here in the real world would never get afforded that opportunity to, if you got deep pockets, hey, God bless you, and you could buy one. Awesome for you. That's fantastic. But, all of us out here that muck it every day trying to earn a living and to pay the bills and keep a roof over our head. And if we can be able to afford a decent, fun car to have and do some fun stuff on the weekends with our friends, that's fantastic. But we'd never get that opportunity. So it's unfortunate, but the engineering exercise of it would be fantastic to see, because it would be awesome to see what they could put behind that. Because there's so many things you can do now in regards to making, say, a modern F40 that's got a V12 manual transmission. Now, obviously, with emissions and stuff like that, probably, it's going to go back to, twin turbo V8 because, hey, mileage and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But if you're doing a limited series car, doesn't matter. Have at it. Whatever fees, whatever taxes, whatever someone would have to pay because they're bringing that into their country or whatever, so be it. It's not going to hurt anybody. But, you have all the electronic nanny aids that the F40 didn't have, that you could put on there. Obviously your traction control, that kind of stuff. I mean, hell, you could have the rev matching computer do that, so you don't have to worry about doing your little heel toe when you're driving the car, doing downshifts and that, which, my opinion, I guess it would take away from the experience, but there's probably should be a button in there or something. Hey, turn that off. I'm going to do it because I know how to do it. Again, it would be interesting what their take would be on that. Would they go basically stripped out minimalist like they did with the F40? No sound editing, no nothing. It's just basically the tub, some wheels, a steering wheel, and some pedals. Have at it. Or do you do it up like that Kona Series R? I mean, those are beautiful cars inside and out. I mean, the leather, everything like that. They're beautiful. I mean, there's no doubt about that. The craftsmanship's there. So it's like, so what extent do you go with this car? My opinion, strip it out. Make it minimalist. You don't need a nav screen. You don't need any of that stuff. Just give us the basic gauges, everything like that. Make a hookup for your phone and do a cool way to mount your phone in there somehow, some way. Because that's all everyone uses their phone for this day and age. You don't need those stupid ass big nav screens and all that stuff on there running all your stuff. It's a freaking waste of money. You know what? And the other problem is, in 5 to 10 years, the thing fucking breaks. Pardon my French. You're screwed. Trying to get it fixed, repaired, or whatnot. I don't know what's going to go on with a lot of these cars, down the road here when they have all these electronics like that. You're just going to have to scrap them because it will make absolutely zero sense to pay to try and have it fixed, repaired, or anything like that because of the cost of it. It's like, I'll just go get another car. It's unfortunate. People are going to have to be very, very smart picking through the junkyards and breaker yards and stuff to find old units that still work to be able to pull that out to put it in. But then you got to program also. So there's a lot of stuff there. You're basically going to have to have a Microsoft computer degree or whatever you want to call it in programming and coding and whatnot to figure it out. My suggestion, I think Zenvo does this with their cars. They don't have a nav screen like that. They got your basic one that's got your stuff on there. But for nav and all that stuff, they have this really cool mount for your phone, everything like that. It sticks in, it plugs in, connects to the phone. Hey, it goes to the speaker. It's got Bluetooth or plug it in, which I think is fantastic. You can design a really cool tray or a holding thing for your phone where it sets in there, whatever shape or form, or so it's visible, you can see it's laying there. Obviously, phones these days are a certain size and shape. Trying to come up with something like that can fit in there, but just put something in there where, okay, it makes it snug or tight or whatever. I'll put something in there, some material, something that it can adjust to make it nice and snug in there and tight. Figure it out. It's not that hard. But that would be my suggestion. Just keep it minimalist in that interior on this car. So, because if that's what you're going for in regards to having a new modern F40, that's what it needs to be. Something light, something top, and make that glorious V12 sing. The F50 sounds beautiful. When you put some pipes on and everything like that, oh my God, that thing's just absolutely phenomenal. And people are realizing that, and that's why those cars are approaching the $6 million mark, especially if it's a U.S. factory-built one. It's obscene. You're holding steady at about $2.5 to $3.5 million, maybe up to $4 million on F40s, depending on mileage, that kind of stuff, history, everything like that. Used to be the F50, F40 were about price the same. F50s used to, and F40 used to be a lot cheaper. But now people are realizing the fact is that was the last V12 manual Ferrari built. It's got some age to it and everything like that, but it's gained some traction. Now, as a side note, if you have not gone on the internet and looked up the F50 GT, you want to talk about how that car should look, check that out. Because I want to tell you the F50 GT is absolutely beautiful. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who aren't a fan of how that wing is molded into the back of the thing. So take a look at the F50 GT because it basically eliminates that. There's still a wing, but it's a completely different look. The front end, the back, everything. It's phenomenal. There's only 3 F50 GTs built. They're rare as hen's teeth. I would love to see someone, and obviously do it with the higher mileage F50, but body scan it and get one of these carbon manufacturers ever to do the body panels up and do a whole new, put the kit on there on your car and do it up. I mean, save your original stuff, but I think they look cool. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Lewis Hamilton's request, or I guess you would say nudge, out in social media news world about doing a modern take on the F40 for him. I would love to see it. I think it'd be phenomenal. But again, also touching on, he said something about having it called the LH44 or something like that, blah, blah, blah. One, it messes up the lineage in regards to the designations on the car. You have F40, F50, then you go into your Enzo, your LaFerrari, now you have F80. It kind of making a step back. I think you can get away with it, but it'd be interesting to see what they would call it. Because the other thing I just briefly mentioned is Lewis has not done anything at Ferrari yet. If he brings the Drivers' Championship or even helps him brings the Constructor Championship with him and Charles, then okay, I could see the justification. I mean, look at McLaren building the Senna. He won all his titles. His 3 titles? 3 titles with McLaren? I know everyone out there will correct me if I'm wrong. I appreciate that. Thank you. So I think that gave McLaren the right to come out with a model called the Senna because he spent the good majority of his career at McLaren. Obviously, he only had those very short, 6 months, 5-6 months at Williams till he tragically passed. So I think Lewis is going to have to step up his game before something like that could happen. I mean, could be wrong. I mean, like I said, Lewis's CV is fantastic. 7 world championships. Proven himself. He's, one of the best drivers of all time. It is out there. But it's that kind of adage, though, that always kind of irks me. Obviously, you got to have the best car. All these guys on the grid, they know how to drive a race car. Obviously, there's a couple that are above everyone else. They can squeeze those few extra 10/10ths out of the car. Max Verstappen, for one. But how much is it the car that helps? Because you put Max back in a Williams or you put him in the Sauber or something, yeah, he is not going to be, I don't know if you can get up into the midfield with that car because way regulations are and everything like that. Everything's supposed to be pretty similar and everything like that, but everything comes down to aerodynamics. You look at from first to last in qualifying, everything like that. I mean, you are so tight. You look at it like, wow, he was only 0.5, 2/10 slower, but they look at that inside themselves, they're like, holy crap, that's like eons. Supposedly, Ferrari's got an upgraded floor for this weekend for Bahrain, so it's going to be interesting to see that could really change up the dynamics or give them that few extra tenths they need. They're not that far behind McLaren. Obviously, we're talking it's McLaren, then Mercedes, Red Bull, then Ferrari. Well, no, I take that back. Probably McLaren, Mercedes, then Ferrari, then Red Bull, because Red Bull is lacking. I mean, they got the best driver on the grid right now, and he's coming out to be probably one of the greatest of all time in Verstappen. But Yuki, and a side note, I think Liam Lawson got screwed. They didn't give him a chance. And again, how's he going to drive something? You give him 2 races, a car he never even drove, everything like that. I mean, it's a tricky car to drive. I thought he got the short end of the stick on that. I would say approved or whatever, but it's going to be interesting to see if they give the whole season now to Yuki. Like, yeah, all right, we're going to just go, we're going to ride until we die, so to speak, and see what happens. But, that's going to kill them in the Constructors' Championship because as of now, Max is the only one scoring points for them. Liam in the first two, and then Yuki in the last one in Suzuka, they didn't score in points. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But anyways, again, back to Lewis's request and dilemma at Ferrari. He's an old guy. Well, I don't know. If you look at Alonso, Alonso's going, he's 43 years old, 44 years old. Lewis is 41 years old, something like that. So he's only got really a few years left. I mean, he's still driving top level. There's no doubt about that. But I don't care what anyone says. As you age and you get older, your brain changes and the dynamics in your head and how you think of things and look at things changes dramatically from when you were late teens, early mid-20s, even late 20s. Brain develops. You get more thoughts in regards to your keeping yourself safe, not taking some of the risks. Because, I mean, you're talking, you could be in some mega crash. I mean, look what happened with Jack Doohan. Oh, again, my opinion, it's getting screwed by Flavio Briatore, which is odd because Flavio is his manager. I've never been a fan of Flavio. I think he's a piece of dirt. The way he goes about business, I just can't stand him. And I can't believe Alpine brought him back. But you know what? It is what it is. They're desperate and they're trying anything. So, but anyways, my guess would be if Lewis can prove himself this year and finish in the top 3 in regards to points, and maybe somehow, some way they can eke out the battle with McLaren and with the Constructors' Championship, which I don't know. We'll have to see after this weekend. I think it'll prove it. Because, again, 2026 season, completely different regulations, completely different cars. The rules are changed completely. Now, of course, the scuttlebutt is they might put it on hold and wait till 2028 because they want to bring back V10s because of the sound, blah, blah, blah. Which I think they could do because of sustainable fuels, everything like that. Instead of trying to go the hybrid route, electric route, I think they could go back that route because the sustainable fuels that could be coming out now that are available are phenomenal. The WRC runs all their cars on it. That would be brilliant to see, but the F1 teams are so far into their programs in designing, building, and constructing their 2026 car, they would lose a ton of money. I don't know how you recoup that R&D and that investment, saying they push it out to say, okay, we're going to push this to 2028. We're just going to stick with the same cars for the next 2 years, 3 years if we include this season. And then 2028, we're going to drop it. We're going to redo it all again, completely redo it. We're going to do the V10s, blah, 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 all stuff, which I would be all for because I just think it would be phenomenal the way they would sound. Of course, I'm curious to see how things sound next year because the way they are changing up the powertrain, I think there's opportunity there to make them sound better, but there is nothing like the sound of those V10s screaming. That is just such a glorious sound. I remember being at Indianapolis for the F1 races there and just standing right there at the fence. They were starting right there, the starting grid. Obviously, they were going the opposite way, but all those cars just screaming. I mean, it's just, oh God, it's such a beautiful, beautiful sound. I was dumb enough not to be wearing, I guess, earplugs because it was loud, but I didn't care. So anyways, I could see if Lewis, they do something this year, Ferrari's able to do something. There's no way he's going to win the world championship this year. Ain't happening. They might have a crack at the constructors, depending how things play out. There's some stuff where McLaren doesn't score points. Their cars drop out of cars, anything like that. So right now, there's a shot there. After a few more races, we'll see. No, they don't have a shot because it'll be XY because the points will just be out of whack. I mean, the one thing they have going, they're both scoring points, but they're not getting up high enough in the points to really kind of do anything. But he would have to win a world championship in the next 3 years for, I think, to justify Ferrari coming out with a car like that for him. He hasn't been there long. He hasn't proven anything. He hasn't established he's a Ferrari guy. I mean, if anything, Ferrari comes out and calls it the Schumacher, call it the MS40, whatever. Call it after Schumacher and build that way. That I think would go over very well. That I feel is justified. Maybe after Lewis retires, he can go back and go to Mercedes and they can come out with something special, something along those lines. But Ferrari should build that car, yes. Come out with the modern F40, put in a V12 manual in it, bare bones, make that thing a screamer, just sound awesome. I mean, obviously you got regulations, but put it in mind that when you build it, construct it, hey, it passes all your emissions or regulations for the countries it's getting sold in, but also keep in the back of your mind when you engineer it that, okay, hey, make it easy to modify that car sound-wise, everything like that. Something along those lines. I mean, it's not that difficult to do, I don't think. But Ferrari definitely needs to build that car. I don't think it should be in the name of tribute, whatever, to Lewis Hamilton. He hasn't earned it yet at Ferrari. Has he earned something like that along the lines of his career? Yes, I agree with that, but not at Ferrari, not yet. If they're going to do it, name it in the name of Schumacher. What was this thing in the grid? MSC, whatever it was. Come up with something along those lines. Now, like I said, R&D and development, everything they have to build that road going car and do it, that's a multi-year endeavor. If they don't have something started now or kind of in the works, if they just start now, because that's what's come out, and they got like a small, hey, let's just start dipping our toe into the pool, so to speak, with this, and start doing some basic design, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. I don't think you really got to get so much into trying to look at budgets and R&D like you would say a Ford or GM does. Okay, what's it going to cost? Here's a budget. This is what you got. This is what we need to come up with, blah, blah. It's more along the lines, hey, whatever we can come up with, we can build it because we can charge whatever the frick we want. So you're going to recoup your money and make a boatload off of each car. So I don't think that would factor in so much, but I think, time frame wise. But if you start now, you could have that car out in 4 or 5 years. So that would give enough window and just say, okay, its internal code name is LH44, but the actual name of the car might be something along the lines to attribute to Schumacher, because Lewis just didn't do anything at Ferrari. I mean, I think if you leave that door open, but obviously the thing that's going to kind of bite him in the ass is there's going to be a lot of leaks. There's going to be people poking their nose around. And if they find out, well, they were kind of making it like LH44, but then they come out and actually name it when they start moving cars to customers, it's after Schumacher. I think that could create a real bad PR problem. So I don't know how they would address that. I mean, keep it under the wraps, just name it something differently internally. Who knows? Call it the next awesome Ferrari, something like that internally. I don't know. Do something along those lines. But it would take them probably at least 5 years, maybe 4 if they pushed it, to come up with what they do. If you look at what they did for the SP3 was based on an existing chassis they already had. They just put the V12 in it and did all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't that car. It was mainly a lot of body work they did to that car and then inside it and everything like that. So it wasn't that difficult to bring that car to market. Now, this would have to be, I would think, a completely new car chassis. They could possibly build it on that 499 customer version car, take that chassis, and then do something on those lines. And a side note, if you have not seen that F80 in person, thing is absolutely awesome. I mean, you could take that chassis and do something with it, I guess. The F80 chassis, which is based off the 499 customer car that's track only. So you could do something with that would save a significant amount. But, you have the tub, you have everything. But then again, it's like, all right, you're going to have to really make it look different than the F80. And you're going to have to make it something so spectacular. Do you make it above the F80 in regards to performance and everything like that? Or do you make it a step down? I mean, where do you go with that? Because you could upset some people. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting conundrum that they could have on their hands, because I don't think this is going to go anywhere. And I think this is going to be a topic that's going to be brought up for at least the near future, for the next 6 to 8 months, especially depending on how the season goes. Because if you know Lewis Hamilton wins a race or two, starts having some success, that's going to come to the forefront of everyone's conversation with anybody from Ferrari. So, how's the R&D coming on Lewis Hamilton's new take on the F40, blah, 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 that stuff. So, they're going to have an interesting little thing on their hands coming here this year. So, it's going to be interesting how it plays out. I mean, I'm all for it. Like I said, it would definitely be an Icona Series car, but if they're going to do it, make it a manual V12, minimalist inside, just do what you need. No screens on that crap. Don't need it. Just be it where you can just plug your phone in and have everything like that. Make an app that once you plug your phone in, all your diagnostics, all that crap goes into that. You just give your basic gauges, your rev counter, your speedo, some oil pressure, your temp gauge, your gas gauge. That's it. That's all you need. Don't need anything else. And maybe, put a nice clock in the one spot. Maybe, I don't know, something on those lines. But that's my take on that. Like I said, I touched on this in previous episodes in regards to them bringing it back a manual and stuff like that. But that was just me, just swirled in my head. This actually has got traction because the request has been come from Sir Lewis Hamilton himself. So we'll see where it goes. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this plays out. Could you imagine? It'd be phenomenal. Could you imagine how fun that 296 would be in a manual? I was at Motor Trend Road and Track. They did a little conversation with one of the guys, marketing PR guy, whatever, from Ferrari. Their thoughts, oh, no, the flat-pit paddle. Well, this is that performance, this and that. They don't get it, it seems to be, in regards to the percentage of how these cars are driven on the road and compared to driven on the track, everything like that, and that visceral experience that you get out of driving a manual. It'd be awesome to see that, but there's no way to do swaps on those because of electronics, everything like that. It's just impossible. But it would be awesome to see if they came out and they did a special edition Icona Series new take on the F40. That's my opinion. Appreciate it. Remember, hit up the website. Check it out. If you got any thoughts, stuff like that, just shoot me an email. It's william@theferrarimarketplace.com. And stay tuned. More episodes coming, hopefully on a weekly basis, depending on my schedule. I'm going to do what I can. Remember, check out the website, check out our social medias, and also check out, the Garage 65 stuff. That's pretty much encompasses everything under the sun that I get into. Looking forward to it. Appreciate it. Stay tuned till the next episode.
This episode has been brought to you by Grand Touring Motorsports as part of our Motoring Podcast Network. For more episodes like this, tune in each week for more exciting and educational content from organizations like the Exotic Car Marketplace, the Motoring Historian, Break Fix, and many others. If you'd like to support Grand Touring Motorsports and the Motoring Podcast Network, sign up for one of our many sponsorship tiers at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. Please note that the content, opinions, and materials presented and expressed in this episode are those of its creator, and this episode has been published with their consent. If you have any inquiries about this program, please contact the creators of this episode via email or social media as mentioned in the episode.